I have to say, I absolutely love the fact that you think that since Strasler comes off the bench for Monaco, that he's going to do better on your fantasy bench. That makes my day.
Don't make me second guess my choices. Do not.
That's what I'm here for, to help you.
No, I asked for Milena Gomez and you put on a whole speech about suspend Francisco. I can doubt two of my choices. It's too much.
Welcome to the EuroLeague Fantasy Challenge podcast. I am Frankie Sachs and I'm joined by my lovely co-hosts, Vasiliki Karamouza and Javier Gancedo. And I have to tell you, you've chosen a great episode to watch. Vasiliki, tell them why.
Indeed, it's a great episode, Frankie, because I had the better score among the three of us in the previous round. But it's also great for you because you're leading the pack among the three of us in total fantasy points since the beginning of the season. But it's also a great episode for our weekly winner. In round 19, it was Predak Samardanic who excelled in this game, scoring 215.65 credits. But not such a great episode for Javi, right?
Man, I'm so happy to be here. First of all, happy to be here. Delightful to be here and to be treated so well by you two. I have a change of heart at the very last second and I traded Bezenkov, which is something, kids, that you never have to do because you see the
Don't try
consequences.
this at home.
Yeah, exactly. You had around 150 points and I was stuck with 101.8. So yeah, that's the bottom line. I went for players that didn't deliver, and all of a sudden I cut myself into a big trap. So I'll tell you what I'm gonna do to solve the situation, which is a very simple trick, which is find the best players in the game.
But what happened to hashtag Vez for Prez?
You know, we talked to each other a lot, and he had Howard as a captain for 2 weeks. But we didn't speak this week, and I said, okay, maybe Howard is doing better than Bezenkov. Number-wise, the last 2 weeks he was. So I traded him for Howard, and then I saw Bezenkov's team, and he had himself as a captain. So he's always ahead of me.
Sasa bought Sasa and put him as a captain as well?
Yeah. He was confident. Yeah. So for some reason, I thought that Butkevicius, of all people, would stop Bezenkov. He had the right, let's say, skills to stop him, but he didn't. He had a 27 PAR. It happens. I had a bad week. I just have to bounce back quickly because otherwise you're gonna be way ahead of me in no time.
My advice to you and to everybody else is always try and find players that are matchup proof. And when you have a matchup proof player, don't touch him and leave them there forever. Bezenkov is obviously matchup proof. There's nobody that can stop him. They can double team him, they can slow him down, but he's not a guy who's going to put up a clunker with a -5 PIR.
I mean, thought of that of Maledon, but he had a bad game. Well, not bad, he had a PIR of 10, which is under his standards. In the last 6 games, he had 24 or more.
It's below his fantasy standards, but if you watch the game, he went down in the fourth quarter when he was trying to rescue the team, forcing some bad shots, getting a shot blocked, some extra turnovers. But that's not indicative of his real ability. It was just the situation. I would not get rid of him. I think that he's also close to matchup proof. And again, matchup proof means that when you have your bad game, it's a 10 and not a -5.
That's something that Frankie should have told me last week before I panicked when I saw the 10 on Theo Maledon, and I said, okay, I'll get him on my bench and put Dinos Mitoglu in, which proven to be the worst thing that I've done so far this season. He had -2.7, despite all the good words that me and Javi said about him last week and recommended him freely to the world, it was the best thing to do. And it was a disaster. And if I hadn't done that, I would have had 160, 170 points instead of what I did. And I also didn't risk with Bezenkov and Nan because I said, okay, Bezenkov had a really good game, so I'm not gonna risk it and put Nan as a captain, which if I have done, I would have 10, 15 points more.
All right, well, there's a lot of things we have to discuss. I want to open the floor with this, which is Fenerbahçe plays ALBA Berlin. That means it's the first time that they play each other in a Ultra Sports Arena since Nigel Hayes-Davis had the 50-point game. But also, Marko Vujovic has been playing well, but also Tarik Biberovic has been playing well. Vasiliki, what do you think about these three players? Are you considering any of the three this week?
The one that I would be more like confident to get, I think it will be Nigel Hayes Davis, but I already have Zenkov as a very expensive option in my forward, so I don't think there's room for Nigel Hayes Davis for me to squeeze him in. But all three options sounds great, and even better if you ask me, and I will do a little spoiler alert. I think it's Sornos Yasikevicius, you know the ALBA rule that we have also established in this fantasy podcast this season very often. This seems like the easiest matchup of this week, even though we have said before that many times there's not such thing as an easy matchup because you never know what will happen. But I think that will be like the most probable coach to go for this week.
Javi, do you remember the what we said on the text chain last year between you, me, and our close friend Dreamland Gran Canaria forward John Chorna? Do you remember right before the Nigel Hayes Davis game?
Yeah, I remember. I was fourth overall that week. And if I had Nigel Hayes Davis as captain, I would have won. I'll be first overall by like 10 or 15 points.
But we had discussed Friday morning, the three of us discussed it. And we thought, you know what? Against Alba.
You said you wanted him as a captain, yeah. But I had Shane Larkin with 40 something.
Well, I left him on the bench in the end because you guys convinced me he may not play a lot if it's a blowout. So I kept him on my bench.
Oh, yeah.
Great piece of advice. Frankie, I think they set you up. Frankie.
The other thing I wanted to discuss with you guys is Caraites back in Monaco. How does it affect the rotation? All of a sudden, Terry Tarpe is not playing. He's on my team. I couldn't sell it because I had other let's say, urgencies. But I think he's going to be the one that not playing now so that Caraites can play. But also, Matthew Strassel is playing well. Blossom Game is playing well. Of course, Mike James is playing better now. He had a season-high 23 points last week. Any Monaco players that you would recommend, Vasiliki?
I have Matt Strazel on my team for quite some time now. He's one of the greatest options to have in your bench because that's where he comes from into the game. So he knows his role and he's always delivering in the minutes he gets. And even though Colates was back, he had a great game last week, I think 22. PIR, which was amazing for my sixth player. And he also had a double-double in the domestic league. So I think I'm keeping him for now.
I have to say, I absolutely love the fact that you think that since Strassel comes off the bench for Monaco, that he's going to do better on your fantasy bench. That makes my day.
Yeah, you have to find these players that are not super cheap. The ones that cost 4 credits usually don't play. But the ones that cost like 5, 6, 6.5 credits are usually the ones that are getting their minutes here and there. And they're not always delivering. But there are some cases like Strazel who will always do something because he can score, he can pass. So he will amount some type of credit somehow.
Yeah, I agree. Strassel, Biberovic, Ziga Samar, who doesn't play much, but always gets something positive. These are the players that can give you a little bit of value and allow you to afford the big stars in the game.
I'll throw in one more name, which is also from ALBA Berlin, Elias Piecki, who I had a few weeks ago. And last week, I think he had a 16 PIR for 4 credits. He's gone up to 4.5 credits from that performance.
Yes.
Timo Schneider, if you guess when Timo Schneider plays well, he always goes 15, 20 PIR. So yeah.
And ALBA Berlin is turn 1, so those are guys to consider for turn 1. You gamble. If they give you that 15, 16, 17, then you're golden, and you keep them. And if not, you drop them to the bench. All right, guys, I'll share my moves. I only made 3 this week, so I have one that I can hold on to there for Thursday afternoon if there's any injuries or late breaking news. At head coach, as Vasiliki alluded to, I also went for Coach Charas, and I said thank you to Coach Ataman for a nice blowout win last week. I also said goodbye to Kamar Baldwin and Dejan Davidovic, who both had negative scores for me, and I brought in Devan Hall from Fenerbahçe and Tariq Biberovic from Fenerbahçe.
You go all in with Fener.
I think that with the guard situation at Fenerbahçe, Devan Hall is the player that we should all be considering right now, at least until some of those players come back. He's handling the ball more. He's a good scorer. There's a nice carved out role, and he's not very expensive. And likewise, Birovic already has that role. He's playing more than 20 minutes. I think 7 of his last 8 games, he's played more than 20 minutes. He made 5 threes last week in the derby, so the confidence is there. If he's got that role and he's always been a great shooter and his defense is good, so he's going to keep that role. I think the Alba game is a time where he'll get some more shots up. And again, turn 1. So you want to lean into those guys when you have players like Vez for Prez on turn 2, then you can gamble a little bit more with guys on turn 1. So that's why I made those moves. All right, so at centers I have I'm sticking with McCormick. I just think at 9.6 credits there's he might be the one of the best credit for point guys out there. And I'm not walking away yet. And I think that also with the Alba front line being a little bit short, he's going to keep seeing minutes unless he gets into foul trouble. And my backup is Momo Diouf, again, because Zizic is out and he will see minutes and big minutes. And at, 7.3 credits, I think that's another player that we shall entertain. The only downside there is that he's a turn 2 player. But still, I'm happy to have him on my roster. If McCormick does not do well, he'll go in. Forwards, I am sticking with Roman Sorkin, who will be there until Rivero comes back from Maccabi Tel Aviv, Biberovic, Vezenkov, and Nakic from Partizan, who will not play for me. That's a 4-credit player who's sticking there. And guards, I've got I'm sticking with Theo Maledon, Tamir Blatt, Kendrick Nunn, and Devon Hall. So I've got 3 of the best players in the game in Vezenkov, Nunn, and Maledon. And then I have a couple guys at the end of my bench who are in the 6 to 4 range, and then a bunch of guys in that 9-credit range in the middle.
2 things. I like the Devon Hall signing. He has 6 assists, no turnovers last week. I think it's a good pickup. Also, Biberovic. Anyway, my team. I'm inspired. I have to say, I'm inspired by a team in our private league, in the EuroLeague private league, that only features stars and bench players that they don't use, owned by Pablo Ramirez and Joan Fernandez, ex-Equo, altogether. And I'm going to go for the best players in the game. I had a really bad week, and I'm going for Kendrick Nunn and Bezenkov. So I'm selling Elio Kobo, Theo Maledon, Devin Booker, and Mitoglu, 4 really expensive players. I'm buying 3 expensive players and 1, let's say, 4-credit guy. So it's less depth, but more quality. I'm going for Kendrick Nunn. I'm going for Bezenkov. I'm going for Bolomboy. And I'm going for Di Bartolomeo. I could change last minute, and if I change, it's going to be only to put Yurt 7 instead of Bolomboy and Strassel instead of Di Bartolomeo. I want to know your opinion about this. What do you prefer, Bolomboy and Di Bartolomeo, or Yurt 7 and Strassel? What do you think?
I would say the center situation for Panathinaikos is a bit of a mess. We know that Matugo will get minutes. We know that Wenyan Gabriel is going to get minutes. I don't know that we're going to see that the 28 minutes that Yurtseven got last week. And I think that it's fool's gold to expect that, because last week he did against a Virtus team that was missing Ante Zizic. Mobley Diouf was their lead center. He's a EuroLeague rookie. He's 23 years old. He's a little bit smaller. That was a match if he was able to take advantage of. This week against Partizan, can we expect him to do the same thing against Tyreek Jones and Brandon Davis? Can we expect those guys not to take advantage of his defense? I would say stay away from him. But again, he's a turn 1 player. If you believe in him, if you have the foresight, if you're a prophet and you can see the big game coming, you're getting him on quite a bargain if you think he's going to become a go-to center for weeks and rounds to come. Personally, I'm staying away, and I would advise you to also stay away. But Vasiliki, feel free to contradict me.
No, I won't contradict you, Frankie. I'm on the same page as you. Yes, Yurtseven had a career night. He even broke his scoring record from the first half against Virtus. But as you said, Antasis wasn't playing, Toko Sengelia wasn't playing, so Momo Diouf was the only one that Yurtseven had to face. And okay, Momo has been getting better and better game by game, but he is a rookie. He doesn't have the experience, not the body to go up against Yurtseven. So I'm not very confident with Partizan's bigs, Tyreek Jones, with Brandon Davis. I'm not really sure there. I would go with Bolomboy. But I'm not sure about Di Bartolomeo though. I'm not sure if that's a better fit than Strazel.
Yeah, I have 4.5 credits. I mean, the team is like this. It's Kendrick Nunn, Di Bartolomeo, Tamir Blatt, Howard and McCormack starting in turn one with Kalaitzakis as sixth man, who's not going to play, but is the only player I have available because the other one playing turn one is Tarpi, who I think he's not going to play at all. And then I have Bolomboy, Bezenkov, and Osmani. I have a really good bench. If I put Youth 7, I lose one player on the bench to use in turn two. So I think I'm going to start with Bolomboy, yeah. Vasiliki, what do you have?
Okay, so I went with Adamant out, Sarah's in for my bench. I also got rid of Tio Maledon, not because he didn't have such a great game, but because I needed to spend his credits to spread it a little bit more. Because of course I didn't want to sell neither Vazenkov nor Kendrick Nunn. I would be stupid to do that at this point with the way they're playing. So Maledon is out, and Sylvain Francisco is in, whom I had also talked a couple of weeks ago, even though I didn't have him on my team when we had the limited trades. He has been averaging more than 22 fantasy points in the last 5 games, and he also had a pretty great game with 24.2 credits against Real in the first round. So I think that's a good choice there. So Mitoglu is out, and Janan Musa is in. Because Gabi Deck is out with an injury for a couple of months, and Musa had stepped up. He had a pretty good game last week, and he also was amazing against Baskonia in the domestic league, scoring 29 points. So I expect good things from him. And last but not least, David McCormack is out, and this is where I want your opinions, because I gambled a little bit. I bought Billy Hernangomez, which is not something I'm very comfortable doing. But last week, Jan Vesely was out, and I think he has a knee issue. He didn't play in Liga Endesa this week as well. So if Vesely is out, I think Hernangomez is a good option. He had 33 PIR last week, but he scored only 3 points against Badalona in Spain, so he's not the most stable guy. But if Vesely is out, I think maybe that's a gamble, a bet that I will get. Opinions?
I need to ask you a maybe personal question. Do you surf?
No. I've tried it once. I failed miserably. It was too cold because it was at the end of September in the Atlantic, somewhere above Bilbao, when I did my Erasmus there. And I haven't tried it before. But why?
Because you're trying to ride the wave here with Francisco. And,
Yes, I am.
And we all know who he shares the backcourt with.
Yeah, we all do. I thought an episode would pass by and we didn't bring up Lonnie Walker's name, but there goes my hope.
I think that Francisco has benefited from those off games from Lonnie Walker, from Walker being so hot, from the defenses paying attention to him. They moved Francisco into the starting lineup. He's started 3 of the last 4 games. That's when he's been putting up his big numbers, because more attention's been being paid to Walker. The best defender's been on Walker, and Francisco's been feasting. But just like the head coaches aren't stupid, and they knew that they had to adjust and stop Lonnie Walker, eventually they're going to say, hey, we can't let Francisco kill us either. These big numbers, it's a wave, not taking anything away from him. Eventually they're going to find some sort of synergy between him and Lonnie Walker to put up big numbers from the two of them. But I just think that there's a risk right now taking him when he's had a couple big weeks in a row. His price has gone up. You have to time the wave perfectly. I'm not a surfer. I just thought maybe you were, so you knew how to time the wave. But it's a risky thing, and if you miss the wave,
don't make me second guess my choices. Do not.
That's what I'm here for, to help you.
No, I asked for Miliana Gomez, and you put on a whole speech about Sylvain Francisco. I can't doubt 2 of my choices. It's too much.
I really like the Musa pick.
Okay.
Yeah, but
enlighten us.
I had Musa the other day, and he has 0, so I must stay away from any Madrid player, because I had also Tavares with -5. I'm not buying any Madrid players, especially not against Zalgiris, which is going to be probably a low-scoring game. No chance. But yeah, Hernan Gomez, if Vesely doesn't play, yeah, I would stick with him. I mean, I think it's very difficult that he plays 2 bad games in a row. But if Vesely is going to play, then I would definitely stay away from him.
So I guess this is my time to reveal my full team, my full roster. So we'll start with Francisco and Nan, Vazenkov and Sorkin as my forwards, and Billy Gomez, maybe, I don't know, as my main center. I have Matt Strazel as my sixth player. And on my bench, I have Janan Musa, Malte Dilo, Banjiasi, and Elian Diaye. Of course, Saraj Giskevicius is my coach this week. And that's pretty much it. Like the only substitution I would probably make is get Sorkin out and put Musa in if I go with these players, because maybe I will redo 4 of my changes again after what you guys told me. I don't know. So yeah, that's pretty much it.
All right, so let's move on to captains. Vasiliki, again, who do you have as captain?
It's the other way around than we used to in the past couple of weeks, because now Kendrick Nunn is playing the first night of set of games. So he will be my captain. He's a T1 player. And if he scores lowest than 25 or maybe lowest than 30, I don't know, we'll get Sasa Vazenkov in.
Ditto, I've got to say. I thought that the rule of thumb was going to be 25 in turn 1 for Kendrick Nunn, but I guess we'll have to reconsider when we see how he does. But then I've got Vazenkov on the bench for turn 2, so I've got the same situation.
Same here. I have the same 2 players, and I'm going to use the same strategy. Both of them play at home, so that's one of the reasons why I went for both of them this week. I traded some of my best players to get them. It's very, to me, it's very clear that they are clearly on the MVP race. MVP of the season, and it's time to deliver. So I expect a good game for both of them. So none, and if not, then Vazenkov will be my captains. All right, so let's wrap it up. Any games you're looking forward to this week? I mean, for obvious reasons, I'm looking more forward to Fenerbahçe Alba, not just fantasy, but to see if Hayes Davis can do something special again, which I kind of doubt, because I really think Alba will be willing not to make it happen again. We'll see.
I'd say my favorite pick for this week is the game between AS Monaco and FC Barcelona. I think that will be a pretty good spectacle. Looking forward to see more of Nicolathis and Mike James under the guidance of Vasilis Panoulis, and also how is Barcelona doing with some ups and downs they have been having lately. So yeah, I think that's my game for the week. Frankie?
There's 2 which I'll pay extra attention to. There's of course Panathinaikos hosting Partizan, which Jelko Obradovic returning to Athens is always exciting, and we'll get some clarity maybe on the Panathinaikos center situation. And the other is the rivalry series game of the week, where Real Madrid gets to visit Sylvain Francisco, Lonnie Walker, and Žalgiris Kaunas, and I think that should be an exciting game. And it's always great when Lonnie Walker takes the court for Žalgiris.
Javi, we'll have to get Frankie to meet Lonnie Walker. He's his biggest fan. Like, it's only fair.
Yeah, it should happen. Yeah, let's see if Lonnie stays for the season. I hope. He had a really good game against Madrid just 4 weeks ago, so let's see if he can do it again. We'll see. It's going to be a very exciting week.
Absolutely. So just guys, tune into all the games on EuroLeague TV. And before that, be sure to like the podcast, subscribe to the podcast, share the podcast, tell your friends about the podcast, and we will be back here next week for more fantasy fun.